13.2, set associative cache. In this video, I will talk about two types of caches: fully associative cache and set associative cache. First, let's look at a fully associative cache. This one also, the method, also very simple. How to define a map? There is no formula. In a direct mapping cache, we have a formula, modular operation. Here, no formula. If no formula, how do we find the location for a new cache block brought in from main memory? Random location. So a block can be placed anywhere in the cache. Just randomly select one slot. Yeah, so that's simple. All right, so let's look at the properties for this type of mapping. Yeah. Maximum freedom. There is no limitation. You can place your current cache block anywhere in the cache. So the maximum freedom. It looks that it's a good thing, right? Yeah. But some aspects good, but some other part not good. Yeah. Each block can be mapped to any block in cache. So total, the number of locations, the same number of blocks in the cache, that number, anywhere, that number. So the block cache address in the cache, any valid block address, you can place the current cache block there. Yeah. That kind of, freedom. Yeah. Then the disadvantage, longest hit time. When you need to find a cache block, if you want to check if a requested cache block, requested block address, because you can get that block address. That block address requested, which location has this one? You need to look at everywhere in the cache. So the longest hit time. Yeah. Then lowest miss rate. The miss rate side lowest. Why? Because if the cache is not full, you can always find a location to put the current cache block. If it is full, what would happen? If all the slots in the cache are occupied, what you should do, you just replace a randomly selected cache, replace it. Kick that out. So you put a current cache there. In this way, the miss rate is the lowest. Yeah. Because when you try to find a block in a cache, then the chance that the requested cache block can be replaced, was replaced before is small. Yeah, the chance it was replaced is small. So that's why the miss rate is low. Yeah. It's an advantage, right? It is an advantage. Yeah. But we will see the overall performance of this method is not good. Not good. Yeah. All right. Before we go to the next method, let me describe why the overall performance is not good. Okay. All right. So here, the hit time. Hit time is up to, so we will say up to the number of blocks in the cache. What's that number? How many blocks are there? How many blocks are there in the cache? Think about that question. How many blocks are there in the cache? Is it reasonable number there are 100 blocks in the cache? 100. Usually there are more than this number, right? 100 number, usually the cache size is much larger than this number. So you can think about if the number of cache blocks more than 100, then the hit time is 100 times each unit hit time. So there is a unit hit time, right? Yeah, so unit hit time. So let me use just U, okay? Then your hit time could be 100 U. 100 to 1 ratio, right? Is that 100 to 1 ratio? Yeah. If you compare the hit time U with this 100 to 1 ratio, 100 to 1 ratio, that's approximately equal to the penalty. Remember the last time I used the penalty, cache penalty. When you have a miss, you have to go back to the memory to bring that cache block in. You need to pay the cache penalty. That is approximately 100 times of this U hit time, unit hit time. Okay? But here, if you need to find one block in the whole cache, it is very easy for you need to spend the same, approximately the same amount of time. That's the penalty time, right? So you can see this method is very bad. Even worse than the direct mapping cache. Even worse, almost. You can think about, yeah. Even worse than that, yeah. All right. So for that reason, we cannot use this one. We cannot use the previous one, direct mapping cache. We cannot use this one. Performance, too bad. So the next one, we have to use some method that can help us greatly reduce the penalty number. Yeah. All right, so let's look at next. Set associative cache. So this one performs much better than the previous two. Yeah. Look at the idea. Yeah. Here, because the previous two methods, they are really bad. The reason is they go to extremos. The first one, they go the, one extremo, so they make the freedom, minimum freedom, and maximum miss rate, right? All right. The second one, they give you the maximum freedom and the minimum miss rate, but even you get a hit, you need to pay a lot of penalty. That's the main issue. Even you get a hit, you spend time close to the cache penalty. So that's extremely bad. So we want to avoid these two extreme cases. So we need something between. So our idea, just combine these two, take the good parts of both methods and mix them to create a new method. So that is the set associative cache, something between the previous two methods. How do we mix the good parts of those two methods. Not too restricted as the direct mapping cache. When you map a cache block, you should have multiple slots as the candidates for the cache block location. Multiple slots, not a single slot. Okay. So then you have more freedom, reduce the miss rate a lot, overall performance better. So that's one. Do not search everywhere in the cache. Now, in order to find a cache block, requested cache block, you should not look at everywhere in the cache. Only limited region, relatively small, limited region. Then your hit time cannot be too bad, right? Yeah. So that idea will give us a good solution. Yeah. All right. So a block can be placed in a restricted set of places in the cache. Yeah. So that's the key idea. Restricted set of places in the cache. Yeah. Imagine that. Okay. All right. Then here you get a concept, a set concept here. A set is a group of blocks in the cache. So we divide the whole cache into multiple sets. Multiple sets. Yeah. Group of cache blocks. Yeah. So that's the set. Yeah. A block is first mapped onto a set. We just map a block to one set, one of the sets. Okay, all right, so the first step. Second step, and then the block can be mapped anywhere within the set. Within a set, we have freedom. The block can go anywhere. Any slots inside selected set. That idea. Okay, yeah. The mapping formula, block address, yeah. But we know block address in main memory, right? Yeah. The block address in main memory. That number, we take modular operation, this time modular against number of sets in cache. Not number of blocks in cache, number of sets in cache. So this number smaller than the number of blocks in cache. Okay, yeah. So you can see this way we will get a better overall performance. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's look at the properties of set associative cache. And here I draw a diagram to help you understand the whole idea. The goal, improve overall performance. So we want to get greatly improved overall performance. Okay, all right. Each block in the main memory can be mapped to only one set in the cache, but can be any block in the cache. So this sentence describes the whole cache mapping idea. Two parts. Here, let me draw a diagram. Suppose, so this whole rectangular location, the cache storage space. Then we draw cache blocks or cache lines, right? So many cache lines. All right, cache blocks. Yeah. Then we divide all the slots in a cache into multiple sets. Set 1, set 2, set K, yeah, like that. Okay, all right. So then for each set, here let me, suppose this is one particular set. For each set, all right, then based on the formula, a given cache block can only be mapped to one of the cache sets. Okay. Then, after you find that set location, set has a location. Each set has its own address. After you find the right set location, then any blocks inside the cache can hold that requested cache block. That cache block you can place there. So that's the whole idea. All right. Then, so let's look at the probably short head time. Not the shortest, but pretty short, right? Because you only need to look at certain number of locations. Here, let me give you the idea. Usually how many slots do we consider in a set? Usually, there are three possible ways people use. First one, two blocks per set. 2, that's one possibility. 4, because the number should be a power of 2. And 8. Only these three cases. 2, 4, 8. 2, 4, 8. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. So you can see the head time is not that big. The head time, 2Ks, 2U, right? Up to 2U, yeah, unit. Head time unit, okay? Or 4U, 4 units. Then 8 units, okay? Not in the category of 100. So that's too big, okay? So you can see we can treat short head time, yeah. And another thing is this 8 slots per set, rarely used, okay? So rarely used. So then most of the time we use these 2 cases. Then the head time is not that big, yeah, pretty small, yeah. Short head time, okay, all right. Low miss rate, yeah. So you can see because you have multiple possible locations to find requested cache block. Even 2U, you reduce the miss rate a lot. 4U even more, yeah, reduced, yeah. N-way set associative. So here we call N-way, that N. So here 2-way set associative, 4-way set associative, 8-way set associative. These 3 different ways. Yeah. But 8-way rarely used. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So if there are n blocks in a set, the cache placement is called N-way set associative. Yeah. All right. So that's these 3 methods. But in the real world, only that set associative cache method is used. Direct mapping is not used. Fully associative cache, not used. Yeah. But those 2 methods help us to, finally get to this method. Yeah. So we come from there, we need to know, why we should use the set associative cache. All right, so we finished B.2 right here. Yeah.